I'm Rob Hore from Webres Solutions. We're an enterprise IT services company, been in business for 20 years this year, so quite a while. And we specialise in enterprise infrastructure as well as cloud architecture. Over 15 years. So I remember, 15 years ago, I contacted James, the provider at the time, was having some difficulties with their platform, and he, on a weekend, actually made himself available to get us back online again. So I suppose from that moment, we've been very, trusting and had a lot of services extend with Micro 21. So it's been very positive ever since that point. It's been a bit of a mix, but it's between co-location, some network services to connect those co-located services, as well as over the years, we've also leveraged the VMware platform and now mCloud. The collaborative effort, that's been the best part about it. We bring our team's experience, and then we also leverage the experience from the Micro 21 team, and we work together to deliver complex solutions and very robust and performant solutions. And having that localized support, it's very important to us because that's what we're all about as well. The responsiveness, the performance and the stability. So over that 15-year period, we haven't had any outages. It's been a very, very robust platform, and we haven't had to worry about it, which has been one of the great things. So whereas other providers or larger public cloud providers, you don't really have that personal connection, you don't have that contact point. With Micro 21, it's been wonderful in that sense. I suppose with Micro 21, there's greater guidance there and local specialists that will assist them to deliver the services and solutions that they need and to ensure that they're operational and so they can focus on their business essentially. From a support perspective, having the team here makes a big difference. Once again, we're very much about that, having a local team within Melbourne and within Australia, but also from a network perspective, the performance is noticeably better. There's obviously a latency improvement. Knowing where your equipment and where your services reside makes a big difference too. It means a lot, to be honest, having that local assurance and the local focus on obtaining the necessary certifications and delivering the services and seeing that occur, initially and ongoing with the facility and the team and the services that are provided and the ongoing innovation, that all combines to make sure that we have confidence and our customers also have confidence in those services being delivered. They all have their pros and cons and quirks that we've all learned over the years, but probably most familiar for someone who's worked in the AWS or Amazon Web Services platform. It's fairly intuitive, I've found, so to create new workloads, very straightforward, very wizard-based, but also having the CLI capability so that we can script certain deployments or changes or on a mass scale make changes. That's really powerful, especially for the way we operate. But I'd say anyone who's a seasoned systems engineer who's worked with VMware or Hyper-V will very easily pick it up. My initial experience was I had an instance running in a couple of minutes after logging into the interface, as well as we had a tour, obviously through the platform from the Micron team, and that sort of showed us a whole bunch of the different features within the platform. Overall, definitely a better value. For us, one of the big things we see is that we can use our own network resources within the platform. We can very easily spin up 40 virtual firewall appliances, which is sort of part of the standard of the way we deliver things. But there's also networking components built into mCloud. So for customers that don't have or aren't running a Fortinet or a Palo Alto or something, they can obviously use the networking components within the mCloud platform for security groups, for IPsec tunnels, those type of features, which are pretty standard across the board now. Probably the performance, the fact that any action occurs quite quickly. So with other public cloud providers, you might make a change or put through a request for something, and there's that delay for it to actually occur. Now, that's fine if something's not really urgent, but in an urgent scenario, you want responsiveness, and that's probably one of the biggest things. As well as, once again, the flexibility, the way we can pull in resources from other parts of our network, and we can combine them to form a total solution. That's still possible, I suppose, to a degree in public cloud platforms, but we get a really tailored level of customization we can achieve with mCloud. Obviously, with a lot of our customers, some of them are fine with a single site for where their applications or services run from, but for the larger customers or customers with true mission critical availability requirements, we can run them from the CBD or we can run them from Kilsyth, and we know precisely where those workloads are running from. We know the underlying performance that will be delivered to them, and we're seeing that through our own benchmarking. So that's very important to what we do. And once again, that the use of our own resources can play into that as well with how we architect a multi-site solution. It was pretty straightforward. We worked with the Micron 21 team to sort of get the project within mCloud set up the way we needed, in line with sort of our standards. Our team have now built up the skills and have worked with the APIs and the CLIs so that we're then able to manage sort of detailed aspects of the platform through the CLI. That's very powerful in its own right. But the migration process was quite straightforward to take a workload from a VMware environment and bring it into mCloud. I suppose we leveraged the initial training we had with Micron 21 to get up to speed with how to utilize mCloud, as well as some of the documentation was provided, and through some of our own reading as well. But to be honest, the learning curve was not that steep. And once again, if you're a seasoned system administrator and you've worked with VMware, Hyper-V, AWS, Azure, you'll be very familiar with these types of interfaces and how it operates. There's a lot of similarities there, which makes the transition quite straightforward. For us, one of the main deciding factors was so that we can leverage private connectivity, private cross-connects. From a networking perspective, it enables us to leverage services we already have with Micron 21 to a greater degree and a lot more straightforward than if we were to deal with a public cloud provider, and also much faster. So the time to get the environment, the project up and running, and the workloads migrated, it was a much quicker process, we've found, than with other environments, especially when we're factoring in bringing in private connectivity at a later stage. So that was a massive deciding factor with the platform. What works best for us is more the virtual data center VDC style setup with mCloud, so that we can have a pool of resources, vCPUs, memory, storage, and obviously we're utilizing two different types of storage, the performance tier with NVMe and the bulk storage for backups and just sort of general data storage. That works best for us because then our team can provision workloads however we need to for our customers within that sort of setup. And we will also probably proceed with further setups and extra VDC instances depending on the project or how we structure it for our customer. So it gives us that ability to provision based on those resources, but also segment where required. With our business, so we have our own public ranges that we utilize and are advertised within Micron's network. And the benefit of having mCloud as part of this overall solution is we can bring those network resources into mCloud, have our own IPs utilized within that platform, and then we can utilize them either within the native network stack within mCloud, or we can use it with the FortiGates within mCloud as well. We can also have it connected and linked in with our co-location services or other services within Micron 21. So it gives us the complete flexibility between physical infrastructure, legacy sort of VMware services, as well as the new mCloud. For our customers, we manage these workloads on their behalf. So we architect them, deploy them, and maintain them. So from an end user perspective, what they will be seeing is the services are stable, they're available, and they're performant. That's the main factors that we have to consider. They're not necessarily accessing or consuming the servers or those services themselves. However, we do have some customers who have technical specialists, and they will be logging in and performing technical tasks within the workloads as well. So it is a bit of a blend. And look, it does gives us flexibility regardless. We can deliver secure connectivity for the technical specialists that do need access, or the vendor support that may need to access the workloads. But for the majority of our clients, what they see is the stability and the performance and the availability of the platform. And that's what's critical to how we operate. Yeah, look, it's something we're always concerned about and always have to have a strong focus on. It's part and parcel of how we deliver services these days. It's always been a core part of the services we consume with Micron 21. So things like auditing within these platforms, multi-factor authentication, network level restrictions, all of those are delivered and in line with our security expectations of the services we consume with Micron. And if we've ever had any concerns, or if we want to go beyond standard expectations from a security level, we've always found Micron 21 to deliver those at those times. So we haven't had any concerns around that. And the current security levels and protections that are in place are, meeting or exceeding industry levels. We've worked with Micron 21 for over 15 years, and we've been a part of this journey from at that point, one of the very sort of early customers with Micron 21, and we've seen the way it's evolved to where it is today, as a company as a whole, as a data center, as a network operator, and we've worked with the team since that day. We've also worked with other data centers which claim to be tier 3 or thereabouts, and you really do see the difference. We work with some other data centers as well, so we see and can compare how the infrastructure is managed, the attention to detail, the security around processes and policies, and the infrastructure itself. And it is noticeable. So the tier 4 level, seeing it from power infrastructure, network architecture and design, all the way through to the actual physical building and how that has been constructed. We've seen that firsthand over the time it's been, developed and built, and over these last 15 years. So it does mean a lot, and it's good to see. It's probably one of the few networks we've never had an outage with, and we've never had to worry about. And I'm saying that from experience, from the monitoring we have in place. So we have our own monitoring platform, and we have 2 other independent monitoring platforms that monitor all our mission critical services. And over the 15 years, we've never had an outage or an interruption to Micron 21 services. We have with every other carrier for a number of different reasons. We know there's maintenance has to occur or unplanned outages, but it has not occurred with Micron 21, and that is incredibly rare these days. And that is the proof, I suppose, from seeing it on the monitoring independently from multiple locations. And the benefit of that is we don't have to worry about that aspect of it as part of our operations. We can focus on the solutions architecture, solutions implementation, and the management of that for our customers. We don't have to worry about, is the network up? Is it stable? Is it going to drop offline? We just don't have to worry about that, which is takes a lot of pressure off. Early on in our relationship and our partnership with Micron 21, we had more physical servers and we had a co-location presence, which we still do to a degree, but since leveraging more of the VMware platform, which is sort of legacy now, and the mCloud platform, we don't really have a need to visit the data center. It's good to come and say hello and all of that, but for the most part, all the work we do is remote, So majority of our team are in North Melbourne, but we also have team members in Brisbane and also a team member over in Vietnam. So we are working from everywhere as well. So we will come to the data center to drop off new hardware if we're extending or maintaining our co-located servers. But for the most part, the location to us isn't that important. But we do know that it's in, obviously a great location, and we haven't had any issues with availability with Micron 21, and the fact that there is kill site and in the CBD as well. So for those mission critical type scenarios, you can be operating between or from those 2 locations. So that covers off any issues there if there are any. Yeah, look, it's a very straightforward platform. So when you first log into the mCloud dashboard, you see that sort of single pane of glass, and you can see the resources across, your RAM, your CPU allocation, your disk, your backups, everything sort of in that one location. And then down the left, you've sort of got your options you manage your instances, your networking components, your backups. It's very straightforward from that perspective. And going into each one, you see a list of your workloads running, statuses, actions you can carry out with them. So it's all very intuitive from that perspective. As a local, performant, robust alternative to some of the public cloud providers, that gives you the flexibility to build and deliver workloads however you need to.